I was fortunate enough recently to hear some news that there was a new store coming to town, and that store was Daiso. For those of you who are not familiar, sometimes the West Coast tends to get a lot of these interesting type bargain stores. The biggest difference is that a lot of these are usually import stores. Daiso specifically is a Japanese-based retail storefront that operates almost kind of like a Dollar Tree or similar things, where they have cheaper type goods meant for household. So you'll find things for your kitchen, for storage, for parties and crafts and hobbies. But the thing that really struck me is that they have gardening tools, and these are not just your standard run-of-the-mill cheap Chinese junky garden tools that, you know, break after a season or made out of complete cheap plastic. I found some great things, and so I want to share those with you today on this video, and just kind of also talk about some other things that's been going on around here as well. So if that interests you, then keep watching. Okay, so let's go through the Daiso haul that I was able to pick up. And while they did have a lot of great and useful things in there, I didn't necessarily need it, or I did know a couple other places that had cheaper options available. One of the more bigger things that I ended up picking up during this haul are these trellis things, essentially tomato hoops, whatever you want to call them. These extend out. They have the 3 different size rings on there, and so eventually, you know, as the little picture indicates, it's just a trellis you can pick up. And so these say 200 yen, and so again, since it is a Japanese import company, their prices are going to be configured in yen. And then around the store they had posters that had basically the price conversion of what you can be expected to pay. And so for 200 yen, I want to say it was about maybe $3 for us, which I know it's not true US to yen conversion, but that is basically Daiso's price point as at what they want to sell it to us in our US market. Definitely plan on making some good use of these once all of my wire ones that I have outside are completely used up, and hopefully, you know, we get some good decent use out of this. Picked up some of these little S hooks. They were cheap enough. These are going to be used for hanging things. Honestly, these are more meant for our hummingbird feeders, but they are technically pollinators, right? So that's why we ended up picking these up, and we'll definitely put these to good use. The next thing I got is this tiny little trowel, or shovel, whatever you want to call it. I got this because I'm sure some of you have seen in maybe some of my repotting videos, but I use a spoon, just straight out of the kitchen drawer, just a spoon on hand to scoop out seedlings to make sure that I'm not damaging a bunch of roots and things. And so it's really difficult to get in there, and so I'm hopeful that this nice little tool will help me to be able to dig those out a little bit more better and have a little bit more control when trying to pull those tiny transplants out of those seed cells. The next thing I got is this, what they call it, a Sawyer blade. It is, to me, kind of like a mini scythe in a way, and essentially you use this for cutting, so cutting vegetables off at the root. This would be excellent for like harvesting broccoli or cauliflower, things of that sort. And so I've been wanting one of these for a while, but as we know, a lot of those artisan ones are extremely expensive. This is not terrible quality. It has a nice wooden handle on it versus like a cheap plastic one. It seems pretty sufficient, so hopefully I can give this a test in the future on one of my other videos and you can see if it works or not. My last haul is that I picked up 2 of these baskets, which are used in the kind of home goods area, mostly for like bathroom necessities. That way, you know, it has holes on the bottom so it can drain through if there's any water or liquids in there. So the reason I got these specifically for gardening that I wanted to share is because if I am planning on starting anything like bulbs or maybe ranunculus or something that needs to be moved in and out of temperatures, I can easily use something like this that will allow me to continue to water. It has aeration on the sides so that the roots can stay nice and healthy. Excess water can come out of the bottom. It has cool little handles so I can pick up and move things around in the colder seasons or even the warmer seasons, depending when I decide to plant in these. So I am using them, yes, as like a pseudo planting pot essentially. So I picked up 2 of these just to kind of test them out and see how they do, and I may go back and get more. I could definitely see these being used for somebody who maybe wants to do tulips or something of that sort outside, but maybe doesn't want to invest in tulip crates and there's really just expensive and hard to find products. You know, maybe they're a smaller scale gardener like myself and they just want to test things out first. So that's what I'm going to do with this. So wish me luck, and hopefully I'll get some pretty decent use out of this. So that's my Daiso haul. Nothing earth-shattering or changing, but definitely some things I want to give a try and see if they work. I did have one more thing. I don't have it with me inside here, but we did pick up some more trellis netting, and I actually have some that we just put out on our Malabar spinach bed out there. So once that starts becoming unruly and having to climb everywhere, it has something that it can hold on to. We also plan on using those on some of our tapari beans and some other things as well that do require some sort of staking or trellising in order to keep it from just getting unruly and crazy. So now that I went through our Daiso haul and kind of showed you some of the cool fun things that I did want to touch base, since it will probably be mentioned in the title of this video or the thumbnail, but Mother's Day is coming and going. It's actually coming up this weekend as I am making this video, and so this is normally the biggest hot sale time of the year for flower growers, and it's kind of strange because a lot of us don't even have product to give unless we have tulips or daffodils or things of like that sort. We don't have, you know, a lot of, you know, the fun flowers of spring and summer to our disposal. And so, you know, if you are buying arrangements for mom, likely those florists that you're working with or wholesalers are going to be importing those in from a lot of different countries all over who are in a different season than we are currently. It makes it really tough for local flower growers to take advantage of that busy time period of the year, myself included. I started out hoping to overwinter a bunch of flowers. I got just a few of my varieties to come through that I wanted. A lot of them just didn't. They fell flat. They got damaged over winter and just didn't make it through. But even those are not quite ready to be able to be used for arranging quite yet. I wouldn't say it was naive thinking. It was more like wishful and hopeful thinking that since I'm a little bit ahead as far as zones, that maybe, you know, I could have something at least coming through right now. Unfortunately, not the case. However, I did get my first bouquet, but unfortunately, you know, unless there's only 2 moms in the entire world, you know, I just don't have the product to share right now. So I went ahead at least, so I had some flowers coming in. I went ahead and cut those and just brought them inside to enjoy them myself. And so I will share some pictures of that bouquet that I made for myself in a small little mason jar arrangement. And I'm hoping that here, maybe within the next few weeks to month, that, you know, the garden will be a flurry of flowers and green and growth. So far, I am seeing some more progress. A big thank you to those who have watched me previously. I promise all of my videos are not just going to be me complaining and just whining, but it's been a tough season. And it's also been a very big learning season. And I wanted to just, you know, put that out there that if you've been with me from the beginning, since I had this crazy notion after reading some books about flower farming, thank you for sticking there with me. Thank you for the words of encouragement and the folks who have reached out to me and sent me messages to try to, you know, just keep me inspired and keep me going. Those are extremely appreciative. and it means a lot. So the good news is that I do truly anticipate I am going to have some things, even though it kind of felt like my last two videos had a much bleaker outlook. We are heading into the hot months, so that is kind of the caveat that we are just not quite certain about yet. So once we have a better idea as to what is going to grow and flourish, or at least survive some of these hot temps coming through, that's when, you know, I think I'll start feeling a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more hopeful. But today I'm feeling pretty optimistic, to be honest. Things are looking good. We've been watering twice a day, early in the morning before dusk, and then also, early in the morning before dawn, and then in the evening around dusk time as well, just to try to get everything established and growing and hopefully on a good foot for when we truly start hitting those triple digit days for temps, and just hoping that we can get through. The other thing that I did want to mention too, which I will have a secondary video coming out about, pretty much just the maintenance and the infrastructure build of everything out there, us trying to mitigate the extreme heat on the plants and also the harsh UV rays that we often have to deal with out here. So that will be a part of that video as I show you some techniques that we are attempting to use to see if they work or not for us. But overall, this video is going to be just a short and sweet one. I will take you outside to the garden so you can see all of the new and exciting growth that has been happening. And again, hopefully we will start seeing some more bouquets coming here, hopefully fairly soon. thank you, my friends, for watching. Take care, and I will see you next time.